Hello.
Hi, is this Clive Davis?
Yes, it is.
It's Michelle and Ron. How are you?
I am fine, thanks. How are you?
We're tickled to talk to you, and we're calling you from one of your favorite cities, Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh, years ago, I would be there. That's right.
Yeah. Clive, did you ever wish in your wildest dream that you could have hooked up and worked with Elvis Presley? Did you ever think about that? Did you ever get close to doing that?
You know, right now, there's a project that I'm working on with the estate, and so we're looking into a very special project involving Elvis, and so that's currently in the works.
Oh, my gosh,
Yeah.
look at that.
Yeah.
Ron, the predictions.
Bringing the scoop out this morning. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't even know that you loved music. How did you get into that? Because at first you were going to be a lawyer.
Indeed, I studied to be a lawyer. My parents died when I was in my late teens, and the way you rise above the station in those years was through education. So I did go to law school. I did go and practice for 2 or 3 years when I was offered the position out of the blue of being counsel for Columbia Records. And I took that job, and that's really how I got into music and records, never dreaming that 5 years later, in a reorganization of the company, I was offered the job of being head of Columbia Records in 1966, yes.
You've been in this business now for a long time. What would you say is the biggest lesson you've maybe learned from this industry?
Well, first of all, from the industry that unwittingly, when I was growing up, music, when I got into it, became my passion. And it's driven me all from beginning, when I was at the Monterey Pop Festival and discovered Janice Joplin and Big Brother and the Holding Company, and then really got into it for the rest of my life. So I think music is vital today, and for those that have it as a dream to be a part of their life, I encourage them.
That is huge. You talk and you reference Janice Joplin in your book, The Soundtrack of My Life. And what's interesting is she offered to sleep with you to sign a contract. And I think that's hilarious. You obviously declined. So I have to ask you, if you could have, would have, what's the one celeb, if you could have, wish you would have not turned that offer down?
Now, listen, you don't mix business and pleasure. It's an old adage. It's true. I viewed it as a high compliment from Janice, who was not satisfied with a formalistic signing, and she wanted really to communicate to me how personal, how emotional, how special it was. But I think the regular idea of not mixing the two works well.
All right, Clive, I want to do some word association with you, maybe get you to describe in one word. I'm going to drop some names on you. You describe them to me, okay?
Okay.
Let's start with Aretha Franklin.
The Queen of Soul, and she is the greatest voice of certainly all of our lifetimes. You got to put her in a special, separate category. I always knew that whenever, and know today, because I'm still working with Aretha, that there's history being made in working with Aretha Franklin. I mean, hundreds of years from now, people will be scrutinizing, listening with great amazement and pleasure at her incredible voice. So the great Aretha Franklin is deservedly the Queen of Soul.
Whitney Houston.
Whitney Houston, leaving Aretha's side, Whitney Houston, whom I signed in 1983, and was the creative partner of her all during her life. I had the most special relationship with her. Everyone in the industry, from a contemporary artist point of view, all during those decades, Whitney was the best contemporary singer in the world and found meaning in songs. I go around the country playing the demos that were sent to me and then playing what Whitney did with them. It's amazing. And I am going to be the keeper of her flame to really show the world why her legacy is so special and why musically she has got to be a part of people's lives really forever.
Absolutely. And you talk about huge stars, and you've worked with all the huge ones. And you mentioned also in the book that you've passed over artists like Meatloaf and lost out on like the top-selling rock album ever. What's that one big artist that you regret not signing when they've walked into your office?
Well, I had a great story that just came fully to fruition a few years ago. The biggest artist I passed on, pure and simple, was John Cougar Mellencamp.
Wow.
And then the night before Jan Wenner of Rolling Stone was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, we were sitting at a table, just coincidence, me, Springsteen on my left, Mellencamp on his left, Don Henley and Jackson Brown, and they were trading, quote, Clive stories. But I looked at John and I said, John, Bruce is between us. I got to tell you, in any interview, you were always the biggest artist that I ever passed on, because when I saw you, you were so close in spirit and mannerism and material to Bruce Springsteen,
wow.
ironically. And here he said, Clive, let me rest your mind. He said, 8 weeks before you saw me, I was in a cover band. And David Bowie's manager came to see me, and he said, look, you got to leave this cover band. You got to begin writing. 8 weeks later, Tony DeFries, the manager, arranged for me to audition for you. My biggest hero, influence, role model was Bruce Springsteen. And so there's no doubt when I auditioned for you, I had not developed what I was to become. I was very close to Bruce Springsteen. So factually, he's still the biggest artist I passed on, but guilty with that explanation.
That's huge.
I love that. Coming around the corner, current stuff, Kelly Clarkson, how about your relationship with her? How is that good, bad, or where are you with that now?
After my December, when there were differences as to where that would go, right. I'm very pleased. Kelly issued a statement saying, look, Clive has been instrumental in my career, and I certainly respect him. With respect to memory of 2 or 3 songs, we have a different memory as to what her reaction was when I presented. There's no difference of opinion that I brought to her since you've been gone and behind these hazel eyes. And my reaction when I heard Because of You. But without the media blowing it up, I've made it eminently clear. From the beginning, I've been a big supporter of Kelly. Through it all, I've helped find material for her. I was really thrilled to see her growth at the Grammys this year when she sang Tennessee Waltz, A Natural Woman. She's a big talent for many years to come. That's the important thing.
So let me ask you this, and I think this will be a great thing to just clear the air because people are blowing this up. When she says not true at all and that she, quote, says that you called her a horrible writer who should be grateful for the gifts that you bestow upon her, did you ever really say that?
No. Our memories are diametrically different, and what can I tell you? I stand by my book, the facts of which were checked by 6 independent people who were day-to-day there. But, the media is blowing that up, and we've had differences when you have a long-term relationship. As the chapters in the book would indicate, there are times that there are differences of opinion, just as in any family. And the important thing is, positively, we both agree on one thing, and that is Kelly's talent, and that it will be here for a long time.
Amen. Well, this is Ron Olson and Michelle Lewis. We're talking with Clive Davis. And one other quote, Clive, I understand that you said one time that this radio station, FM 100, was in fact one of your favorite radio stations of all time. Do you agree with that? It's one of the greatest radio stations ever?
I'm all in favor of that and of the contribution to music that radio itself has made, because to this day, with all the revolution, digital revolution
right.
that's going on, the most important thing to us in music is still radio.
That being said, first of all, amen.
Right.
Second of all, obviously, 80 years old, still going at it. When do you plan on stopping? Because clearly you're driven by passion.
I got to tell you, knock wood, my health is good, and knock wood, the report cards, whether it was Bleeding Love for Leona Lewis, whether it was Better in Time for her, whether it was My Life Would Suck Without You or Already Gone for Kelly, or whether it's even putting the duet with Whitney and R. Kelly on the current Best of Whitney Houston album. I'm working with Jennifer Hudson. I believe Jennifer Hudson is the greatest young voice in the world today, and we're going to find signature songs for her. I'm doing something I never did before. I'm going to bring to Broadway with Roger Berlin and Scott Landis and the Nederlanders, the wonderful My Fair Lady with an event cast. So I'm excited and learning, we learn, the Stones are learning that when they thought they'd stop touring at 40 or 50, here they're 60s, they're 70, and they're touring. I'm not touring, but I'm working because I love it, and the pleasure is so great. So I can only share that with all of your listeners as to music being so fulfilling and satisfying.
And you told us that you're working on a big project with Graceland, too. I can't wait to hear more about that.
Indeed. That will be forthcoming. We're going to be talking about it in the next month, and I very much look forward to working with Lisa Presley and, with respect to the Elvis project.
Absolutely. And I do want to know, how do you feel then, given what you do? You just referenced, which made me think of it, how this is a constantly changing business. How do you feel about artists like Macklemore today that are out now #1 without a major record label backing them?
Well, until more, I've not seen them live. I've seen the video. Listen, the major question, how do I feel about new artists today without singling out anyone? I have a party that I host is pretty legendary around the world the night before the Grammys. This year, to show the vitality of new artists, that beyond a hit record, but to show the originality, the cutting-edge nature, I made sure that all the Grammy nominees and people like Joni Mitchell and Johnny Depp and, the great musicians, Sting, that were there in the audience, that they saw Miguel and the Lumineers and Emily Sandé, along with the old-time greats, and that is the Patti Smith group, the great Renaissance rock and roller. And then I paired the great singer, young singer, Jennifer Hudson, with the all-time great singer, Miss Gladys Knight, and they ripped it up.
Huge.
And so that I love the fact that coming out of the singles world today, there's an Adele, there's Mumford & Sons, there are Miguel, Lumineers, and Emily Sandé. And, I will look to see the future work right now of each new artist as they break through with the hit single. You're not going to make a quick snap judgment on one record. You do want to see more to see what the body of work is.
Absolutely. It's the soundtrack of my life. The book is in stores now. Clive Davis, the man, the myth, not at all, but definitely a legend. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you so much.